Good evening, folks. I'm student meteorologist Dylan Leith here.
And I'm meteorologist Jay Karstens. And as we moving further into October here, streaks were meant to be broken in Tallahassee.
We didn't break the 90-degree high streak, but what did we break, Jake?
The second longest streak in recorded history for us here in town of days failing to drop below the 70-degree point. You might have noticed it was a bit more comfortable out there this morning. We woke up to a morning low of 67 degrees, the first time since July 11th that we woke up in the 60s.
That's crazy. It felt much better outside, a lot less humid too. We had dry air filter into our area, so it's feeling a lot less humid and a lot less cooler.
Yeah, and despite the fact that we got that afternoon heat that built back into the region, our 30th consecutive day hitting the 90-degree point for that high temperature, that dry air also helped to keep the sunshine really abundant today, more so than I've seen in quite some time around here.
It honestly felt pleasant for the first time since the summer. I don't know, I kind of enjoyed today, but I've been inside most of the day.
Yeah, we'll have more about what to expect going forward. Conditions going to be really nice tonight, but again, we'll break down the next 7 days for you later on in the show. Some other stuff that we'll touch up on, some tropical activity in both the East Pacific and the Atlantic, as well as Parker and Michael a little bit later on will be talking about the return of severe weather in a pretty big way in the Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah, we've had a couple of days of severe weather, and we continue that pattern. They'll break that down just a little bit more later on in the show.
Yeah, will fall finally make its way to Tallahassee over the next 7 days? It's starting to make its presence felt in the central and northern United States, but we'll see about what's going to be happening for us over the next week or so. For now, we're going to take it out to Sammy at the wall with an overview of what to expect on tonight's show.
All right, thank you guys. So we are still at the 90-degree mark. It is very sunny outside still, and we're going to expect another day like this tomorrow. As far as our satellite, you can see pretty much nothing on our radar, nice and clear out, so meaning we are going to be free of rain for the remainder of the night. As far as current conditions across the Big Bend, starting to creep its way into the 80s, 89 for Perry and 87 over in Apalachicola. Very sunny, though, throughout the entire region. As far as tonight's forecast, going back into the 60s, once again, it will be mostly clear out, 67 degrees for tonight's forecast. And for our weather headlines, lower rain chances remain for the weekend, and hot temperatures will also remain. Our full weekend forecast coming up soon, but for now I'm going to take it over to Michael, who's going to give us a bigger look at the southeast.
Yeah, thanks, Sammy. It's not only hot, but doesn't feel as humid here in Tallahassee. The rest of the southeast can say pretty much the same story. 90 degrees right now in Tallahassee, 89 in Atlanta. They got up to 91 degrees today, which actually set a record for today's date. So this is really warm conditions across a lot of the southeast. Same for Montgomery, 89 degrees. They didn't break a record, but it's really warm for this time of year. Now, it doesn't feel as bad as it does during the summer. That's because of these lower dew points. We have high pressure situated in the Tennessee River Valley, and that's bringing in some northerly winds and some northwesterly winds. That's allowing those dew points to drop just a bit so it can feel more comfortable outside. That can be said for Shreveport and New Orleans, though. Their dew points are still in the 70s because they're on the western edge of that high pressure, and they're getting the southerly winds from the Gulf. Now, that's what I was saying about these winds. High pressure, again, situated up in the northern Tennessee Valley, and you can see that clockwise flow around the high pressure with northerly winds in Atlanta and easterly winds in Montgomery and Tallahassee. That's what's contributing to these lower dew points across a lot of the eastern sections of the southeast. On satellite and radar, basically a lot of this green stuff is not rain. It's actually ground clutter from the radar site. So basically, if you're anywhere across the southeast today, with the exception of southern Louisiana and southeast Texas, you've been under the sunny skies for a lot of today. And it's also feeling drier outside, again, with those lower dew points. Now, as we go into the nighttime hours, whatever tiny clouds you saw in the sky, they're going to dissipate with the loss of the daytime heating. That's what's going to happen overnight. And then when we start our Friday morning, mostly sunny skies. Temperatures actually could be in the 60s for a lot of locations in the southeast due to that drier air. And then the afternoon, you get maybe a few clouds just due to the daytime heating. For tonight's forecast, you can see 70 in Atlanta, 69 in Montgomery. That's because of that drier air allowing allowing us to cool down quicker than we usually do during the summertime. And then going into tomorrow, you can see drier air, even though it can cool down quickly, it can heat up very quickly as well. So 91 in Atlanta, 93 in Montgomery, and a little bit cooler in Mississippi and in Louisiana. just due to a little bit more moisture in the air, 89 in Jackson and 90 in Shreveport. Let's send out to Mr. Jay Carsons with a look at our first local forecast.
Oh, thank you, Michael, for giving me the extra 30 seconds to nerd out here over these low temperatures we've been seeing over the month of September. You saw all these 70-somethings. We have the red boxes, of course, here for dramatic effect. But as we move in towards today, you're going to see something starkly different. 67 degrees was our morning low, snapping an 84-day streak where we failed to drop below the 70-degree point. This was the second highest, as we alluded to on the first desk. On record here in Tallahassee, that data goes all the way back to 1892. Only a streak in 2010 exceeded that at 94 days. But we did get back up into the lower 90s for the afternoon highs around town, and that's still sticking around about 6 o'clock here in many areas. 90 degrees under mostly sunny skies in Tallahassee, 90 in Quincy as well as in Bainbridge, and the sunshine has been persistent throughout. The Dome of Happiness, the high-pressure system, has really returned to our area and helped to make the last couple of days really nice around town. The dew points are a little bit lower to go along with that as well. Some drier air filtering in out of the north and east, helping to drive those values down into the low to mid 60s in many spots. 65 degrees currently in Tallahassee, 61 up in Bainbridge, and where you have the Appalachia Bay's influence, a little bit muggier over towards Apalachicola and some of these areas along coastal Franklin County as well. If you combine the two together, you get the heat index, and there really isn't too much of a difference in many of these areas, which is another welcome sight to see. When you see these 90-degree temperatures, it might be feeling like 100 degrees earlier on in the summertime, but only feeling like 92 here in the capital city and 89 down towards Perry as well. If we look at the national satellite and radar picture, of course we see all the snowfall in North Dakota, but that's not really our main focus. This front is stalling out over parts of the Tennessee Valley, dropping down into the southern plains. Not really going to be a factor for us over the next couple of days or so, as again, high pressure is the big story. Nothing more than some of that clutter that Michael was alluding to over at the Eglin Air Force Base radar site. A very, very quiet day around really the entirety of the Big Bend area. And that continues through the rest of the night tonight as we move forward here. Mostly clear skies as we work through the rest of the Thursday evening into tomorrow morning. Just some scattered clouds, maybe a little bit of a shower over the Gulf, over the western panhandle or so, but nothing that's going to be affecting us. Waking up to very nice skies and pretty cool temperatures, much like we saw this morning. Could be dropping into those middle 60s even in some spots. And for tomorrow afternoon, a very similar picture to what we saw today. Mostly sunny skies, and those highs are going to be working into the lower 90s. For tonight, 67 degrees, just like this morning here for that nighttime low. Mostly clear skies, a nice calm wind, helping for some pretty nice radiational cooling conditions, which is something we have not seen around town in quite some time. As for tomorrow, 92 degrees for that afternoon high, which is going to be trying to push record territory. The record high for October 5th is 94 for us here in town. Winds are going to be out of the east-northeast, pretty light, generally around 5 miles per hour or so. So pretty much holding the status quo from what we've been seeing over the last couple days or so. And as we work through the next 7 days, a pretty linear trend here, slowly increasing rain chances, getting back up to that 30 and 40% area as we work into the early to middle part of next week. Those high temperatures still, unfortunately, going to be hanging around the 90-degree point, which by the end of the forecast period is going to be well above our average for this time of year. Going to take things back to the desk now, where Sloan and Sammy are standing by.
Thank you, Jake. So it's October and the tropics are heating back up a bit for us, especially in the Gulf. We have an area of low pressure there that might become Michael. We don't really know yet, but it is moving towards the Gulf.
Now, this disturbance will move northwestern. It is an area of low pressure, and it will move over Central America.
The biggest threat right now, though, is rain, especially to these coastal regions where flooding can occur. So as usual with these tropical disturbances, water is the biggest threat. Flooding, especially of low-lying roads and houses and local ponds, streams, and rivers.
Well, the good thing is, though, it's not expected to become a hurricane, but like Sloan was saying, the biggest threat is the rains that will come in, definitely flood threat throughout Nicaragua and Honduras especially.
We also have Leslie still out there, the Atlantic, but she's expected to make a turn back towards Africa, I believe is what the map was showing. She's supposed to die down a bit and slowly dissipate.
So that is a tropical storm, meaning it is in between 39 and 73 miles per hour.
And then the Eastern Pacific has been seeing a heavier season this year with tropical storms. Right now they have Sergio, which you told me was a Category 4 right now.
Category 4, that's a major hurricane. The good thing is, though, it's not expected to make landfall.
Yeah, especially with strong winds like that, Category 4 hurricanes do cause that catastrophic damage as one of their qualifications. And they have those gusty winds and a lot of rain associated with it. But we're going to send it back out to Michael.
Thanks, Lalone and Sammy. So let's take a look at our national forecast right now, and notice how you can see there's a front right here, right in the middle of the country, separating hot summer conditions and actually feeling like winter up towards the northern plains. 47 in Minneapolis, 59 in Kansas City. But as you look at the southeast again, 89 in Atlanta, 90 in Tallahassee. So it's a tale of two seasons across the southeast. Notice how it's cooler in the west and much warmer in the east. There's a trough in the west and a ridge in the east, meaning ridge is much better conditions across the east, and troughs is more unsettled conditions across the west. That's going to be a major theme for the next few weeks, for next week at least, across the national picture. Now, the dew points also tell the story of how there's much drier air behind that front in the middle of the country, and you still have a lot of moisture on the eastern two-thirds of the country, with the exception of the eastern sections of the southeast. You see 62 in Atlanta, 65 in Tallahassee. That's because of high pressure, once again, situated over the Tennessee Valley. Now you can see some moisture associated with that front in the Ohio River Valley. And then we also have some moisture up towards the northern plains. That's the remnants of what was Rosa impacting the desert southwest earlier this week. Again, here's the front on our satellite and radar basically dissipating out. And it's basically going to die out in the next day or so because high pressure over the southeast is really strong. But let's zoom into Iowa and the northern plains first. You can see some rain in Sioux City and Omaha. This is due to the remnants of Rosa. But up in North Dakota, it is cold enough that we can say that there's finally snow happening in Bismarck. Yes, it's actually, we're getting some winter weather to start off your October here in North Dakota. And as a result, we have a winter weather advisory in purple until tomorrow afternoon. Now, down towards the desert southwest, they are looking much better because of the rain they got from Rosa. However, the drought monitor doesn't really indicate that because a lot of the rain from Rosa happened after the drought monitor was finished on Tuesday. So this will change probably as we go into next week. Now for tonight's forecast, notice the trough in the west with the cooler conditions there and the ridge in the east with the warmer conditions down towards the southeast. 70s, a lot of the southern tier of the nation, with 30s and 40s well up towards the north in the northern Dakota and South Dakota and Minnesota. And then tomorrow, you can see this ridge still being persistent in the south with 90 in Memphis, 91 in Atlanta, but cooler up towards the mountains with 53 in Billings and 59 in Salt Lake City. And this is going to be a continuing theme as we head into late next week and into next weekend with the cooler and the average conditions across the west and much warmer, that's the dark red, across the east, still impacting a lot of the eastern two-thirds of the country. Now let's send it off to Parker with Florida.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So we're going to be taking a look at the area around Florida. So right now, our temperatures for Central Florida, 88 over in Tampa, 83 in Orlando. They did have some thunderstorms pass through within the last hour or so, so they are cooled off down there. 90 over here in Tallahassee. It's pretty hot today, as Jake was saying earlier. This is 84th day that, the 29th day that we've gotten to 90 degrees here in Tallahassee. Our dew points, though, they're looking relatively calm. 65 in Tallahassee. That's really calm right now. Not too sticky outside, not too dry. It's relatively comfortable. 70 over in Orlando and 76 near Miami. They are closer to the coast, getting that sea breeze. There are a few thunderstorms moving through their area right now, so that's why their dew point is up at 76. As for the satellite and radar, these are those thunderstorms that are moving through the Miami-Dade County area right now, making their way westward, and they're going to continue to do that throughout the nightly hours. Nothing so much for the Tallahassee area. Zooming in on those thunderstorms that are moving through the Miami-Fort Lauderdale area, you can see that they're really just sparking up. They're just everywhere, right? It's just cluttered. It's almost like popcorn that's on the screen right now. So as for tomorrow's forecast for the southern portion of Florida, 90 in Homestead, 90 Miami, 90 West Palm Beach. Looks like 90 is expected everywhere. Key West down there at 88, expecting some thunderstorms for tomorrow. As for the satellite and radar for a northern portion and the northern parts of central Florida, these are those thunderstorms that were moving through Orlando that cooled their temperature down to 82 degrees with a dew point of 75. Nothing so much near Jacksonville and over in Tallahassee. It's relatively calm. Few clouds in the area. Relatively nice day, really sunny outside, and it was really nice. As for tomorrow, though, Ocala, 92 degrees. Much of this area is going to be seeing temperatures within the 90s, upper 80s. We do have a high pressure system that is just north of Florida. So we do have these winds coming from the east that is going to cool down these coastal areas. As you can see, 87, 85, and 89 here. Not quite reaching 90 degrees for the northeastern portion of Florida. Not much going on right now in the left quadrant of the Big Bend area. Tomorrow's forecast for this region, 92 in Panama City. Mariana is 93, and that's going to be the hot spot. Mobile, Alabama, 91 over there. Our drought monitor, though. We do have abnormally dry conditions for the eastern portion of central Florida near the Melbourne area, so just wanted to say that. Tonight's forecast going to be relatively cool. 66 for Tallahassee. We're in the 60s now. Not quite 65, which is what we want to be in right now. Tomorrow's forecast, though, for much of Florida, it's going to be in the 90s. Tallahassee, 93, continuing that streak of 90-degree weather, and I'm actually going to pass things over to Dylan right now for a look at the local.
Thank you very much, Parker. Yeah, you mentioned the streak of 90-degree temperatures, and look at it again. We were 29 degrees before today started, and after today started, well, we're now at 30 days of 90-degree temperatures, and we're not seeing much relief in sight. Looking around the temperatures now, it is 90 degrees out there. Feeling a little bit hot, but our dew point's just a little bit cooler. Nice little breeze at 7 miles per hour, not too bad conditions. And looking around the region, you do have similar conditions with rain gone from our forecast. You have sunny skies and high temps, typical summertime conditions, but not summertime shower conditions. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. We take one, but we do have lower dew points, and that's with the dry air filtering in high pressure, making it clear outside, and also filtering in drier air, lowering our dew points into the 60s for the first time in a while. This is not too bad conditions. I'll take it. It's feeling less muggy outside, less like a Florida summer, and you do see these winds coming out of the eastern part, dominated by that high pressure system sitting in the southeast. Looking at the satellite and radar, you do have this low pressure system draping a front down, and will we see the front? Unfortunately, no, it's not going to make its way to us. It's going to stall out just before this high pressure system really staying in place, dominating the southeast. Zooming into our radar, clear skies, not too bad. So we're going to continue that, and into tonight we do have some upper level clouds, but much less upper level clouds than we've seen. Lower level clouds are still possible, and same kind of thing tomorrow. Clearer skies, but there are still some lower level clouds that could fire up. We have a little bit of moisture in the upper levels, but not too much, so we're going to see clear conditions. And into tonight, 67 degrees. That is very nice. And notice the calm winds. Well, with those calmer winds, the more likely the radiational cooling will cool things off, and that's why we've gotten back into the 60s. And we're going to see that trend continue for the next couple of days. The drier air and the radiational cooling and those clear skies have really kept for a nice fall-like temperatures to come back into our forecast, even though we've been in fall for a couple of days now. And then looking at our 7-day forecast, you have clear skies tomorrow. Not a lot of clouds, but we do have those 90-degree temps. We're going to go for day 31, day 32, day 33. We're just going to keep the trend going. But our lows do still sit in the 60s for the next couple of days, so that's nice. And then as we get into the later part of the week, more moisture comes back into our area, and then we get these higher rain chances, and our lows jump back into the 70s, and you're going to have to pull out your rain jacket. We're not sticking around with those fall conditions right now, but we will see some fall conditions possibly come into our forecast way past Thursday. We want that front system to come. Do you guys want the front? Parker and Michael?
Yeah, we were really like a front to come here eventually, but again, there was another front up towards the northeast. We were actually tracking this during our show on Tuesday, and it wasn't really good for Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so there was a tornado outbreak on Tuesday in the Pennsylvania northeastern area of the United States.
Yep, there were 13 tornadoes in the northeast, which included Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and Connecticut. 10 of those were in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so Pennsylvania did have a severe outbreak. So they actually did break the record for That was set in 1979 for tornadoes in October.
Yeah, for the number of tornadoes in October. And between 1980 and 2017, this is really impressive. Only 13 October tornadoes were recorded. 10 of those happened this year in 2018.
Yeah,
and we're only beginning October.
That's incredible. So that was the most tornadoes in a single day since June 22nd, 1998.
Yeah, and this tornado outbreak was one of the worst of the year. We're still below average in terms of tornadoes for the year, but there were 32 tornado warnings posted by the National Weather Service in State College on that Tuesday.
Yeah, 32 is incredible. Your phone would just be buzzing and buzzing all day.
Yep.
So three of the 10 tornadoes in Pennsylvania were EF2 tornadoes.
Yeah, so EF2 on the Fujita scale, enhanced Fujita scale, is from 113 to 157. So you can get substantial damage. So if trees come down, it can cause infrastructure damage as well.
Yeah, so right now we're actually going to send things over to Sloan at the wall.
I hope y'all some great weekend plans, especially going down to the coast this weekend. We see the temps right now would be 90 degrees along the Gulf Coast. Light variable winds 10 to 15 knots. Again, wave height's about 2-3 feet, but expect it to be choppy out there in the bay. But if you're going to be at St. George's Island, expect that air temperature to be 87 degrees, your water temp about 86, but it's also going to be sunny, so you know that UV index is high, so make sure you put that sunscreen on. And also calm surf, so don't be too concerned about high waves. And then Panama City, 91 degrees, and the water temp 86. So you see that there's a bit more room between the air temp and the water temp, so you can actually sort of cool off a bit. But again, that UV index is high, so make sure you are applying that sunscreen and staying hydrated. Going into the weekend, you're going to see a great beach weekend, a great outdoors weekend, sunny all around. Temperatures are in the 90s, but you will see that we do have a low about 69, then 71 going into the weekend. So again, as Dylan said, expect us to sort of heat back up and jump back into the 70s a bit at night. And then, like any other FSU student, take advantage of going to the res while we have these last few weeks of summer. It's going to be sunny, 92 is your high, and light winds from the south at about 5 miles per hour. And then, if you're going to be going to FAMU's homecoming concert, Potbellies, you're going to have 84 about 5:30 on Friday, so expect it to get down into the 70s, but clear skies in sight, so you don't need to worry about rain at all. And then, if you're going to go golfing this weekend, expect it to be 70 degrees in the morning, but immediately heat up to 92 degrees in the afternoon. But don't expect there to be any afternoon rain. And then going to the Futurecast, you do see we have that summertime pattern. We are clear overnight, not a lot of rain in sight, and especially going into tomorrow, maybe a coastal shower down at Apalachicola, but that's about it. And I'm passing it to Sammy for local.
All right, thank you so much, Sloan. So as we woke up this early in the morning, it was a very pleasant day outside. You can see not much clouds on our time lapse, making way for another beautiful sunset here in Tallahassee. Our current conditions are showing pretty much around 90 throughout the Big Bend, 89 over in Perry, in southern Georgia, starting to cool off, as well as 88 over in Thomasville. As far as our dew points, so look these. 65 over in Tallahassee. Last week at this time it was at 75, so you could start to feel that drier air, especially around this region. Perry 62, Apalachicola near the coast is 70, a little bit higher for them. As far as our satellite in radar though, you could see this nice cold front moving through, but not our area unfortunately. So we are dominated by a high pressure system sitting over us, not quite bringing us rain within the next few days, unfortunately. Our radar is showing nice and clear throughout the rest of the night and into tomorrow as well. As far as tomorrow throughout the day, it will be a nice day outside, much like today, as far as very clear outside and just few passing clouds, but it will be a very clear day. So if you're expecting to go to the pool for tomorrow or maybe the beach, it's going to be a nice clear day out for you tomorrow. As far as tonight's forecast, 60s across the Big Bend, 73 over in Apalachicola, so they are still in the 70s, but pretty much around Tallahassee, 65. So it will be a nice and cooler night out here in Tallahassee. For tomorrow, 92, sunny outside. much similar to what today was like. As far as tomorrow, warming up from 74 to about 91 degrees around 7 p.m. So if you are expecting to do something later in the day, it will be still very hot out by the remainder of the night. And for your 7-day forecast, starting out in the 90s throughout the majority of the week, when the rain chances start to pick up throughout Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday, that's when the temperatures are going to start to lower. 88 degrees for next Thursday. As far as our low temperatures, expect the next few days to be in the 60s, and as far as the rest of the week to come, pretty much in the low 70s. But for now, we're going to take it back to the desk to close off the show with Sloan and Dylan.
Thanks, Sammy. You know, it is a great weekend to be outdoors. A lot of outdoor festivities, you know, like going to a pumpkin patch, maybe experiencing that fall weather in some way.
I mean, you would rather go out at the nighttime than those 90-degree afternoons.
yeah.
I mean, look, 60 degrees, I'll take it.
You don't want to buy pumpkin either because the heat will really affect it.
Yeah.
From personal experience.
Yeah, you don't want your pumpkin rotten too early. We got a lot of time till we get to Halloween.
Yeah, a lot of time, but we still have those lows in the 60s tonight and tomorrow night before we unfortunately jump right back into the 70s.
Yeah. Dry air will stick around through the bit of a weekend, and into the next week we start to get the moisture come back into our area with those rain chances.
Yeah, those rain chances are definitely increasing starting on Sunday, and we jump back to 20% from about nothing Friday and Saturday. But those temps are still sticking around 90 degrees here, and then we do see those lows back in the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, look, 69 and 71, you're not going to feel a big difference, but it's nice to see a number
a
that's
thought.
not... Right, it's nice to see a number that isn't 70. It's something.
It's just the thought of thinking we might cool off here soon.
Right, you just experience it a little bit. If you got an 8 a.m. class, you might have experienced it this morning or tomorrow as well.
Yeah, that's true. I did see a few pictures this morning. People were like, oh, it's fall in Tallahassee. I'm sorry, it's not.
Bring out your pumpkin spice lattes. Bring out your pumpkin patches.
Iced pumpkin spice.
Iced pumpkin spice. This is Florida, folks.
Again, make sure you have that umbrella on you, especially going into next week,
Yeah.
especially Monday. And then later in the week, too, Wednesday and Thursday, we see those rain chances and thunderstorms about 40%. There's nothing worse than being stuck walking back from class or to class out in the rain without an umbrella on you.
Yeah, we also want to reiterate that there is that possible system in the
Gulf, yeah.
in the Gulf. Just an area of warning. Just want to inform you that it has the possibility to do something. We're not saying it is going to do something. It's an area of watch.
It just has the possibility to move up to us, maybe
Right.
affect us in some way. But right now, again, as we said earlier, it's just bringing a lot of rain, especially to Nicaragua and Honduras. But make sure to follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather.
And you can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU Weather.
And give us a shout out on YouTube, comment. You can watch all of our shows live, or you can watch previous recordings at FSU Weather.
And then you can also follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather. We're all over social media.
And we want your pictures. We love viewer photos, especially if you're down at the coast where it's going to be really nice this weekend.
Oh, those sunsets are going to be beautiful.
Oh,
And
I wish I
the
was
sunrises
there.
and sunsets.
Again, with FSU Weather, I'm student meteorologist Sloan Haynes.
And I'm student meteorologist Dylan Leith. Have a great night, folks.